Welcome into another installment of H&H, Henry and Hicks, our new show that we created here where we're talking sports, culture, fashion, you name it. And today, it's been a while since we talked, Henry, but I feel like we got to start with the fire sale that the Twins had. I mean, before I even ask your opinion, have you ever seen anything like that where you saw 10 guys traded in 72 hours?
No.
I honestly was looking at my phone, and I'm like, I saw the first couple of trades. I'm like, all right, to be expected. We knew they would kind of clear up some payroll. And then it just kept going and going and going and going. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, that's crazy.
Listen, it was one of those situations where you felt like it was in the arena. Mm-hmm. It's LeBron James on stage.
Yeah.
Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. I'm like, what are we doing?
That's
Derek
what I'm saying.
Bobby, holla at your boy.
Right.
It was insane. It was crazy. Like, I'm with you. Like, when you see the first couple of moves, and then you anticipate some other moves, right? Because let's not act like we didn't think that Harrison Bader could eventually get moved.
Right.
Or that Willie Castro could potentially get moved.
Right.
But when you talk about all the deals,
yeah.
In total, I mean, I'm like,
it felt like Oprah Winfrey's holiday show. Like, you get a player, you get a player, you get a player. Like, everybody gets a player right now, and it's just like, for fans now, I had people hitting me up like, so what do you guys even cover? I'm like, I feel like we got to go do a deep dive on the team now. You traded 40% of your active roster, your 26-man roster, and you still got a ton of baseball left to be played.
And you know, at least for me, because remember now, I mean, I work at the radio home of Twins baseball. WCCO, and the reality is that, you know, I'm still doing post-game shows. Tonight I'll do, you know, final pitch. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm evaluating the roster.
Right.
And I'm looking and I'm seeing, you know, guys that I've never talked about before, and I'm talking about them. You know, this morning when I'm doing my radio hit, I'm talking about Urena was the pitcher yesterday for the Twins. He didn't get the win, but he threw 4 innings. But yeah, it's just one of those things where if you're a Twins fan and you had a jersey of a guy, you likely need to get a new jersey.
But where do you even start? With Bucks and Pablo, that's it? Joe?
Well, yeah, I think right now, if you're a Twins fan, like if you're a diehard, even though, you know, that they're not in a good situation, those jerseys are going to be Buxton.
Yeah.
They're going to be Lewis.
Yeah.
They're going to be maybe Lee. And I definitely would say Joe Ryan. Okay,
let me ask you this question then.
Okay.
Is there any reason to be a Twins fan right now?
Yeah. So I am the type of person that, and this is really, it grew for me even more in my heart when I lived in Kansas City. I don't like being, but this is Minnesota. We are not diehards.
No,
we are
unless you're winning. Yeah.
We are bandwagon.
Yeah,
and there's certain states where, no, they're diehard. Like, they will ride the wave of emotion. They'll be, you know, happy, and then they will be super ticked off and frustrated. And I got a lot of that in Kansas City. But I just, you know, I think the one thing about us in Minnesota is, and I get it, like, you can vent your frustration about what's going on with any team, right? It doesn't matter whether it's college or pro. But I just don't like we are going to take it out on everybody because we are upset with the, quote, the machine.
Right.
You know, I like for me, one of the things that I would like to see happen possibly is let's have the attendance be decent when they return here later this week so that the new players, some of the new faces, some of the new guys that we need to support, they see us. And I know that's me being overly optimistic because right now, what are we doing? We are in our feelings.
Yep. I was just about to say you have to say that because I feel like because you're partnering with the Twins. We are too. On Twins Tuesdays.
But even just as a Twins fan myself and being from here, I just kind of feel that way. Like I'm not saying that you got to go out of your way
for sure
to support them,
right?
But there should still be that love.
Man, it's hard to show up to a ballpark, I feel like, to go watch a Major League Baseball team when you got a team filled with AAA guys or AA guys that are just there filling a void right now. And to get to the end of the season, like I think it's clear the owners, the Polats want to sell. They need to make it more enticing to buyers who want to buy the team. And I just think it's tough to ask people to go out there and go spend $40, $50 on a ticket, then spend $100 on commissions to see a team that you could go see at St. Paul for $10, $20. You know what I'm saying? So,
definitely the ticket stuff is going to be an issue for
at
like
least a lot. You're crazy if you think we're about to go pay over $100 for a ticket to go see a AAA team right now.
I mean, I would think that the Champions Club is going to be empty for the rest of the season.
Look.
And we're talking about that's the best ticket you can get with the seats right there. You got all the food that you can dive into. I don't think people are going to be paying $500 a seat.
They shouldn't. And if they're going on a fire sale to get rid of the roster, then you need to be going on a fire sale with those seats. Lower the ticket prices, allow fans that typically sit in the third row to go down, sit behind home plate for a discounted rate. I mean, you discounted the team, discount the tickets. Let people go enjoy, really get that experience. And then you're talking about a reason to go to the ballpark, watch the team. You got good ticket prices, good concessions, and then, you get seats that you wouldn't sit in for.
I do think that the one thing that I would, if I was pitching this to people, and we're talking about it now, so I am kind of pitching to people, is the fact that even though this team isn't the team that we have watched at all,
right,
and the season hasn't went the way that we would have liked, nobody anticipated that they would be this bad.
No.
There's a couple things here in the final 2 months. Number one, you've got an amazing stadium, right? Even though you don't have amazing players right now. But it's still summertime.
It is.
And on a beautiful Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, Target Field is definitely a place to be.
I think I'll be there on one Sunday here to end the season. Just the kiddos get to,
I'm gonna go to
run the
games
bases.
as a fan,
kiddos get to run the bases. So I'm going to take Houston, my 3-year-old, to go there and let him take part in that. So we will be there looking for the discounted ticket prices, of course. Absolutely. All right, now let's transition to the other team that plays just a couple of feet away from Target Field, and we're talking about the Minnesota Lynx. So before we talk about the move they made, I want to talk about Fee taking on the Las Vegas Aces. 92-49, she's in the game, suffers what we believe is a high ankle sprain. Cheryl Reeves said after the game, it's in the third quarter, final seconds of the third quarter. She doesn't believe the game is over at that moment on another team's court. She had a sub coming in for her, but she liked to say, up 43, the game's not over in the third quarter. All right, so she said that's why she sits in the seat that she sits in, head coach Cheryl Reeves. But with that being said, Napheesa Collier probably going to miss some time unless she's just like a superwoman and comes back. But does this mess up her flow, her MVP season she was having?
I don't think it hurts her from the MVP award perspective. It depends on how many games she misses,
right?
Truthfully. But I have to respectfully disagree with Coach. I love Coach. She's awesome. But you can't sell me that you needed to have her in the game at that point.
Not up 43.
The Las Vegas Aces have done nothing with the Lynx all year.
I know.
There was no way I know that from the standpoint of looking at their roster, Las Vegas is underachieving this year. They got arguably the best player in the world, Aja Wilson. If you go back and you look at every time they play the Lynx this season, it's not even a contest.
Right.
So to say that and it's late in the third, I can't vibe with that.
I can't vibe with that either. I love Cheryl, kind of like you said. I think she's a GOAT in her industry. I would never question her basketball knowledge or her decision making. But
me neither.
From a fan's point of view, watching the game, and I'm watching the game in the third quarter, I stopped paying attention. I'm like, it's over with. There's no point in watching the game. And then I look back up, you see Fee on the court, surrounded by Aces players and Lynx players, and it's like, as a coach, I'm only coach little league teams, but I know if my team's up 15 or something in the third or fourth quarter, I'm pulling out my best players. I'm letting everybody else get some action. I didn't understand that at all. Hopefully, Napheesa Collier is okay. She comes back sooner rather than later. Coach did say after the game it's unfortunate, but these things happen, which is correct. Yeah. Injuries do happen in sports, but you hate to see that she's being left in the game. Now, with that being said, the Lynx went out and made a move right after that. And I think one of the areas of concern for this team this season was on-ball defense. And I think Cheryl Reeve went out and fixed that problem. They went out and traded with the Dallas Wings to bring in Dejanay Carrington, and they traded Carly Samuelson and Diamond Miller to go over there, bring in some defense. So I would have to believe that Dejanay will probably start at the 3 position just because of her defending skills. She was an all-WNBA first-team defense last year player. So what do you think about this move? Do you think that Diamond Miller's time in Minnesota was a letdown?
Well, there's a couple things. First off, the move definitely benefits the Lynx from the standpoint of they were already a championship contender, and now they're even more so. I think that they've kind of solidified. And I feel like it's a little bit strategic, too, in that defensively, you're talking about how well Carrington is. we know that Cheryl last week was not happy about and I can't remember the name of the player that just it was down to the Lynx and the Liberty, and she decided to go ahead and sign with the Liberty. And the timing of it is she's a big, and the timing of it is Brianna Stewart. Remember, she goes down with the injury, and then this player from overseas comes over, and I can't recall her last name, so that's my bad. But and she just played for the first time yesterday, and they broke their losing streak. And you could tell how skilled she is. But my point in bringing it back to the Lynx is the Lynx, I think, feel like, okay, yeah, everybody is looking to upgrade in some way, shape, or form. We're going to upgrade as well. And to get to your point about Diamond Miller, I view it like this because I love Diamond Miller. She is an amazing young woman who I had a kind of a funny connect with Diamond in that. So her boyfriend now plays for the Las Vegas Raiders, and he went to the University of Maryland and was a football player. And my cousin was married to or is married to the former offensive line coach at the University of Maryland. And so we had that kind of connection. We talk and chop it up and hang out or whatever, or just talk a little bit. And so Diamond, I think, is an extremely talented player, but when she got injured last year, she's never bounced back from that. She's never recovered from that. And so I think that when you have dealt with an injury, you come off the injury, and you haven't been able to develop your game, and you haven't been able to really get into your role and kind of find your place, not only on your team but in the league, you kind of lose your spot. And I think that she lost her spot.
I think that just speaks volumes to the makeup of the WNBA and how this expansion will be good for them, because you're talking about the Lynx past 2 first-round picks aren't even on the team anymore. Diamond Miller, Alyssa Peely. Both of them are now gone. Alyssa Peely just got picked up by the Los Angeles Sparks, so good for her. She still has a job right now.
Back to the West Coast.
Yes, but I just think that, man, like, the talent is so good in the W, and it's only getting better with these, new and experienced college players coming into the game with their own fan bases and whatnot. So it just goes to show, like, how deep the Lynx are this season, to make that trade. Diamond Miller was, of course, a player who you saw flashes from in her first season. But like you said, never bounced back from injury, couldn't put it all together. It was a little disappointing to see when she did play well this season that she didn't find more minutes in that rotation. But when you make that argument, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, whose minutes is she going to take? She's not taking Courtney Williams' minutes. She's not taking Kayla McBride's minutes. So it's like, where does she find a way on the court? So hopefully she flourishes in Dallas. I'm sure Paige Beckers will bring out the best in her. But with the trade acquisition to bring in Dejanay Carrington, do you think the Lynx are now the title favorites?
Yeah,
over Emma Messiman. That's who the
that's the player. That's the player that went to. Thank you for looking that up. I think that we were before, though. Before this deal was even made, the Lynx were the favorites.
So you don't think the Liberty can hold water versus them?
Oh yeah, I think that series would be a toss up. Like I think that even though I look at the Liberty and don't realistically feel like they are better than the Lynx, they match up well with the Lynx.
They do.
See, it's about matchups. It ain't just about how much talent you got.
And I think that's why that Dejanay trade will speak volumes later on, because you're talking about somebody who's going to have to guard Sabrina Ionescu or T. Cloud. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that Courtney's not guarding either one of those. Nope. Kayla McBride's not guarding either one of those. So now you pretty much say, Courtney, Kayla, go get buckets. Dejanay has you guys. Like, she's going to guard the best player, and Fee's going to get buckets as well.
You brought up the point. Like, that's her guard.
Right.
That's who in the WNBA finals, she's on Sabrina. Exactly. And right now Sabrina's in her bag right now.
Right.
Like, she's killing the league.
Right.
So I think that has to be the reason why that they go out and they really make that move. Another thing, though, and I do want to bring this up real quick as a side note, because I think that we are on the verge of having an issue, and it involves all of us, right? And it involves looking at the WNBA players and how they are sexualized. And what I mean by that is there are a bunch of women in the league that they're just stunning. They could be models. Sophie Cunningham, Carrington's coming here. Because one of the first things you see on social media is, oh my goodness,
the tunnel pictures.
My bay is coming, right? And they do the tunnel walkouts and stuff like that. My point in bringing that up, because they do that in the league too, right? I think that there is a fine line between Henry Lake looking at Dejanay Carrington or Sabrina Nescu or whoever the player is and saying, man, they are gorgeous.
Right.
And giving them their props that way,
right,
versus like really overdoing it. Because I know that we live in this world where, sexuality sells, but I think that it's going to be, I'm just saying, it's going to be interesting. And now we're really going to be in the thick of it because Carrington has that type of swag.
Right.
Because typically right now with her, like we can talk about her being a great defensive player and an on-ball defender and all that stuff, whatever, but everybody knows that she is looked as one of the, more attractive women in the league, the same way that they do with Sophie Cunningham. I know that she's playing with Indiana Fever and CC and Caitlin Clark and stuff now, whatever, but her Instagram and her socials has really got everybody
Sophie
gassed.
just picked up an Arby's sponsor, too.
See?
She just picked up an Arby's sponsor.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with that because, I mean, honestly, it's no different than how the men's sport, I feel like, is sexualized for the women to like them. Like, you think about football players, tight pants. Women love tight pants.
Yeah,
baseball, women love tight pants.
Yeah.
Basketball, the shorts are getting shorter. I mean, I was just watching NFL training camp on NFL Network the other day with my significant other, Simone, and she's watching Jaden Daniels, and his mom comes on the screen, and we're talking about his mom, and then she goes, man, Jaden Daniels is a good-looking man. And I looked at her, I said, you can't watch any sport without looking at a man or a woman's outfit, clothing choices, or appearances before you talk about their game. And so I think, like you said, like there was a stereotype around the WNBA. I felt like before where it was like, all right, these were kind of just like gay basketball players, not extremely athletic and talented, whereas now there's a lot of respect going in, like, oh, they actually have skill. They're talented, and they carry themselves well off the court. Like, this is something we should be gravitating towards. So I agree with you there.
And I'm not saying that we should not, talk about the obvious, right? Like we all look at people and we are attracted to them and we just kind of feel a certain way. But I think that as a man, I'll speak for myself, I'm in a moment where I got to be able to just be a little bit, wiser and calmer, and also be more respectful of these ladies because of their phenomenal talent. I play on the radio, and at times we even mention it here, like Alana Smith. That's my Timberwolves crush, right? But at the same time, I can acknowledge, like, when I look at her and what she does in the paint and stepping out and knocking down threes, she's a phenomenal athlete.
Just got to give them the same respect that the men ask for from the women, the female reporters that cover them, and things like that. It's no different. You feel like, so we got to respect all professional athletes, but acknowledge that they are more than athletes.
Absolutely.
And they are human beings as
more
well.
than an athlete. I got my LeBron stuff at home.
Oh, here you always bring up LeBron. God. let's transition to another subject because he can always talk about LeBron. All right. I feel like before we talk Vikings, we'll save that for the end. We got to talk ESPN. We got to talk Shannon Sharpe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Shannon Sharpe, he went from working at Fox Sports, got in an altercation with Skip Bayless, decided to leave there.
Club Shay Shay.
Yeah, Club Shay Shay. That took off. He got his own YouTube thing. Then he has the Nightcap with Chad Johnson on YouTube, another popular podcast. So this is a guy who's branded himself really, really well outside of his day job. So he has his own platform.
And a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, a Hall of Fame football player.
Yes. Football player. That plays a part in it.
He's used his platform well. But recently, I don't know if you saw the Club Shay Shay episode with Monique where she told him, you need to sit down.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, she's like, you need to sit down. You need to chill out. You need to get you a wife. You need to be at home. You need to be chilling. She's like, you don't need these young girls. Shannon like, I do. Shannon just got fired from ESPN and allegedly had to pay out $20 million.
Yeah, settlement.
Yeah, settle in a $20 million sexual assault allegation. I guess my thing is, like, I asked you this. Is there a certain point where, like, older men just need to leave young women alone? And like just like it's like leave the fast days behind you.
I don't view it necessarily as that. I think that in the world men have to. I just don't understand this pay for sex. Like I don't get it. Like I get how a younger person says, look, I'm not really about you necessarily. Yeah, I like your glitz and your glam and your popularity, whatever, but I'm trying to be financially in a situation. I get somebody kind of having that aura about them, but just as a man, I've never understood I'm paying for our interaction. I just don't. But I think that when you start talking about people that are multimillionaires and they're in a certain tax bracket, they view it as, you know what, this is transactional.
Right.
Like, we're not going to be married. I'm not going to settle down with you. And so the reason why I will buy you a Birkin, or I'll do this, or I'll do that, or I'll pay this bill, whatever, is because you understand our situation or how I operate. And I just could never be that guy.
I just hate to see.
I don't care how much money I had. I could have Elon Musk's money. I'm not.
That's a crazy amount of money, too. I just hate to see the downfall of Shannon Sharpe. I mean, this is a guy who was so funny in his own way, did everything right. You felt like growing up, was always respectful to others, was truly hilarious on TV, and was becoming everyone's uncle. You know what I'm saying? That you felt like they needed that voice or that guy to be there for them.
Yeah.
And you just hate to see, like, it's so hard to get a job at ESPN. Like, it's so hard. And you get there, you get this platform, and then you throw it away for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like for him, that was a big letdown for Shannon Sharpe and his family, especially with the timing of the news and it coming out days before his brother Sterling Sharpe gets inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Like, that just overshadows that.
But I think that one thing I'll say is this. I think it's a cautionary tale for everybody.
Yeah.
And specifically black men. And let me point out why. For me, just from a moral perspective, I feel like I'm pretty, grounded in life. Like,
sure.
I've got a really good basis for my moral values and stuff like that, whatever. Now, people may not agree with every single political opinion I have or whatever, right? Or even sports opinion, right? Like, I get it. But in terms of, like, dealing with people and respecting people and doing the right things from a value perspective, I'm never going to have those issues. Right now, ESPN is in a spot where they need to reevaluate the people that they put on. And the reason why I say this is because Shannon had his issue. Just a week and a half ago, one of the Morris twins had an issue with a casino and a marker, and then he ends up getting arrested for fraud. You have to look it up because the way that they're defining fraud and stuff like that, it's not really but bad decision on his part. Then you've also got the Gilbert Arenas situation, right? Because he's got a successful podcast / whatever. And then I know that ESPN has used him a couple of times too in the last couple of months. So I think that when you are in that area of you're elevating your name, especially when you're a professional athlete and you've already had access to money for years, you got to be wiser.
I also think it goes to when you talk about the last topic and the type of people ESPN has hired recently and the trouble that they're being in. I just think that just goes to where the industry is headed. Like, the whole journalistic integrity where you got to be factually correct. You got to have multiple sources before you go out with an opinion or something like that. It's all being whitewashed now because views is all that matters. Like, I know ESPN just came out today and said they hired a social media content creator to work with Sunday night and Monday night football countdown and college football game day. This person just graduated college, and no knock to her, but they're bragging and touting out she has 14 million followers. Like, is that really what the world cares about now? Like, you don't care about their journalistic background, the fact that they pay their dues, they won this many awards, etc. It's just like, you got a lot of followers, we want you. And I think that's just a terrible blueprint to follow for
this
networks.
Is where we're at, though, in media, it's about the clicks.
It is.
A perfect example was this morning on Get Up. Shams reported that he came on and did a hit, and he said about Milwaukee and the Greek Freak. He says right now he has not told them whether he is going to stay there long term or whether he wants out. So what are you reporting then? There's nothing to report.
Right.
Like, you're just on the television to say that we've got no news about the Greek Freak. And I tweeted something about it. I was like, this kind of, and other people agree with me because I feel like right now when you have these big outlets, they are in a position and they're in a space where they're like, okay, we just need somebody to get on here and say something.
Facts.
That's not good enough.
Facts. That's like
insider now.
That's like former First Lady Michelle Obama talking about Stephen A. Smith and saying that watching an hour of First Take is no different than watching a Real Housewives episode. And I totally agree. I grew up watching First Take. It was everything. Like, when I went to college, got home from early morning workouts, you threw on First Take. You wanted to see the highlights, you wanted to see the opinions. But as I got into the journalistic world and I got in here and I kind of understand this space, it's kind of like, that's just content filler and low-hanging fruit. Like, they're not giving me really any stats or analytics. They're not telling me why a team won. They're just giving me opinions on what they think. And it's something that I had to remind our Amy Hockert the other day. She was really, like, fired up about Colin Cowherd saying that J.J. McCarthy was going to be average. And I was like, when has Colin Cowherd been here during OTAs, minicamp, or training camp?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these people that have opinions on teams, talking about J.J. McCarthy, talking about Anthony Edwards, blah, 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 blah. These people only see them when they play a game.
Yeah.
You don't see what's going on behind closed doors. You're not in the locker room talking to these players. So I think when a lot of people go to a Shams or they go to Stephen A. Smith or Pat McAfee to get their resources, it's just like these guys are getting it through third parties. They're getting it from beat writers who may or may not be at practice. So I think you got to take that with a grain of salt. I just think the industry, the whole journalism world is changing. And from what we used to know it to where you had to be factually correct and accurate to now it's like, is it clickable? Is it viral? Like, what's the viral success rate of this? And that's so bad.
And one thing I will never compromise is my relationships with coaches, executives, players, and stuff like that, whatever. I've had dozens of times where I had inside information about somebody passing away, about somebody being on the verge of being moved, or just whatever the situation is. And I didn't go there. I held it back because of my personal relationship with that person. And people were like, well, what about your employer? Look, my employer, I do plenty of good work for my employer. I have given many a scoop.
Right.
I once had a draft night, NBA draft, where I was given every single draft pick that the Timberwolves was giving out before it was even on the television. I was talking about it on the radio. So I give out plenty of information. I'm just not willing to compromise information with good people and hurt good people that I'm typing.
I agree. I think I was telling some Vikings players this last year. It's such a rush to be first. I got to be first. I reported this first. This person reported this first. And I said, really, what news stations care about is not are you first, because odds are you're not going to be the Schefter, you're not going to be a Shams, you're not going to be Jeff Passan, but can you verify things? You know, all right,
accuracy.
They reported it. Can you go verify? And that's what I was talking to some Vikings players about. They're like, how come you don't try and break news and stuff like that? I was like, what's the purpose? I said, that means I'm calling y'all all day. I'm manipulating you. I'm trying to suck up to you and be like, oh, hey, friend, how's it going? Blah, blah. Hey, you getting traded this week? Hey, make sure you let me know first so I can break it first. Like, all right, so now that person goes from, man, I used to trust you. I knew you wouldn't ask me bad questions. I knew you wouldn't throw me under the bus. And now I feel like you only care about if I'm being moved or something, or my contract numbers. And it's like, I was like, that's how you ruin relationships. Like, if I'm being first and I'm hounding you to break the fact that you may be released, well, you may be like, well, I ain't talking to you if I do stay because you were on me in a negative way. So I just think it's a double-edged sword, and I think too many people are journalists nowadays, especially on social media.
And I think that you've probably gotten this a million times like myself. People will ask me about this player, that player, whatever, and, are you around them and all this other stuff, whatever. And I say to people, I'm like, look, I'm in the business, and I'm around people. I'm in locker rooms and stuff like that when I'm going to games or whatever, but I'm not trying to be part of the entourage.
Right.
That ain't my job. I'm a grown man.
Like, I ain't trying to be friends. I'm just here to report the facts. You feel me? That's all it is. So I just wish that in the future we keep sports neutral and we take the fan and the opinionated takes out of it, because I think it's being saturated, and then it leads to social media where it's just like a fake viral video from last year is going viral this year talking about J.J. McCarthy, and it's really of Sam Darnold throwing a pass, but it's like social media and just people grabbing it. So I wish that would change, because social media is a dangerous place. But all right, we got to wrap this up. We got one more topic before we get out of here. First preseason game this weekend for the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Houston Texans. Don't expect J.J. McCarthy to play past one drive, but I feel like he has to get his feet wet. Other than that, what are you looking for from the Vikings in their first preseason game at U.S. Bank Stadium?
All I care about is one thing. I want to see J.J. get out there. I want to see a good drive. And I want to see somebody put their hands on him, because he has to get reacclimated to getting hit.
Yeah,
that's all I care about.
So you want JJ to get hit?
Well, not in a bad way, but just like
get
what I'm saying.
Contact.
Yeah, get a little bit of contact. Yeah,
I feel that. He does need that before the season starts.
Yeah,
but I don't want to see him get touched in the preseason game.
No. I don't want. I don't want him to get like hit like that. But what I'm saying is like, if somebody is bull rushing, whatever, him slide out of the pocket, whatever, if you got to throw on the run or whatever, or
just get pushed down a little
bit. Yeah.
Look, I think it's going to be exciting. Two names I want to throw out for you to pay attention to is Amaya Vaughn cornerback number 34, and Dante Fleming, wide receiver number 19. Here's why I say that. Outside of Jeff Okudah, Isaiah Rodgers, and Byron Murphy Jr., Mekhi Blackman's there in the cornerback competition, but there's room for another spot. Dwight McGlothern has been balling this camp. I think he's going to make the 53. But then you typically like to keep 5 or 6 corners. One of them will be on the practice squad. You got to have a plenty of depth there. So Zamiah Vaughn, tall, lanky guy, 6'2", I believe, super long arms, athletic. He's sticky in coverage. And Dante Fleming, here's the only reason why I'm bringing him up. Good chance Jordan Addison is suspended 3 games. So if Jordan Addison is suspended 3 games, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jalen Naylor, 2 starters from last year. Lucky Jackson was on the roster last year, didn't play a ton, though. So he'll be a guy thrust into that number 3 spot. But who do you have after him? You got Ty Felton that they just drafted, unproven guy. Don't know what you're going to get out of him.
Maryland.
Exactly. You got Thayer Thomas, Silas Bowden. None of these guys have cracked the 53 before, but Dante Fleming is tall. He's athletic, and he has a wide catch radius. He's been standing out in training camp. And so I think that come Saturday, in the 3rd and 4th quarter, we may hear a lot about Zamiah Vaughn and Dante Fleming. Those are my 2 players that you guys need to look out for this weekend.
Cool.
All right, so
let's do it.
Other than that, we're going to wrap up this episode. We'll be back next week for another installment of H&H, the Henry and Hicks Show. Until then, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Henry, thank you for coming in, brother.
Appreciate it.
See you next week.
Let's do it. Yep.
All right.